The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey here. Where's Brendan? Where is he? As you might have heard yesterday, Brendan is going to be adding to the family this week. Congratulations to him and to Emily, his wife, and Gabe, their son, who's going to have a little sibling here soon. I don't think they know what they're having yet. I have not heard any news yet on that front, but worry not. Once we know news from the Schaefer camp, we'll share it once they're ready to share it. So, be looking forward to that. In the meantime, we roll along here on The Big Show. Flying solo today. That's all right. A lot of stuff happening. Nolan Arenado is no longer a St. Louis Cardinal. He's now an Arizona Diamondback. We want your thoughts on that. The return, yeah, it's kind of what, at this point, we should have expected. And yes, the Cardinals are paying down a lot of the salary. So we'll get our reaction to that. We'll get our reaction to an interesting move that the Royals are making with their stadium. No, we don't know where their stadium is going to be beyond 23rd. That's a whole separate discussion. More short term, what's happening to their stadium? Very interesting what we'll talk about here in just a few minutes on that front, too. We'll have the NFL good, bad, and ugly from the wild card round at 5:05. Give us yours at 875-KTGR. Steelers may be a part of that, and certainly some interesting Steelers news within the last, 4 or 5 hours or so. And so we'll get our thoughts in on that in the good, bad, and ugly coming up at 5:05. Mizzou adding yet another transfer quarterback to their roster. We'll talk about that at 5:25. And we're joined by the injury expert, Will Carroll. He'll talk about Arenado, the Royals moving the fences in, and some NFL injuries at 4:25. And Mizzou gymnastics coach Shannon Welker will join us at 5:45. Tigers are going to be opening up SEC play this Friday night against Oklahoma, who was the preseason number 1. They've slipped a little bit to tied for second, but SEC gymnastics play about to begin soon, and it's a monster. But the Tigers are part of that monster. Shannon Welker will talk with us about his team's early season success coming up at 5:45. You can join us today. Plenty of room to do so. 573-875-KTGR. You can tweet us at KTGR Big Show. We're live right now on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. You can leave a comment there and let us know your thoughts that way. Or you can do the same thing on Facebook, where we're live as well, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, The Big Show's Big Deal.
Nolan Arenado officially on the way out of St. Louis as he was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks. In the exchange, the Cardinals received right-handed minor league pitching prospect Jack Martinez from Arizona. And also as part of the deal, the Cardinals reportedly are paying $31 million of Arenado's $42 million left owed to him over the next 2 years. So the Diamondbacks now only have to pay $11 million for 2 seasons of Nolan Arenado. And so that ends Arenado's time in St. Louis. He spent 5 seasons with the club, was a 3-time All-Star during that time, won 2 Gold Gloves. Offensively, though, really tapered off last season. 666 OPS, 237 batting average, 12 homers, 52 runs batted in. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 13th day of January 2025. You can call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. I mean, I guess some Cardinal fans today, and you can let us know if this is your sentiment, is probably like, finally. Trying to do that for a couple of off seasons now, and they actually got it done this time. Someone else decided to give the Cardinals at least one asset for Nolan Arenado, and the Cardinals have that roster spot opened up now. It really should have happened last year, and it wasn't even necessarily all the Cardinals' fault that it didn't. Arenado nixed the trade to Houston. That would have sent him there and would have accomplished the goal that the Cardinals had set out for the beginning. We don't know what the return was going to be, whether it was going to be bigger than this or not, although it's not high to clear this bar, obviously, from what the Cardinals got back. But that's not necessarily the story of this, because I think we knew for a long time that for whatever Nolan Arenado was going to go for, it wasn't going to be much at this point. And through last year, you saw that the bat is just not up to snuff, at least by the star standards that we are used to seeing Nolan Arenado at. So when you see the name Nolan Arenado and you immediately think of the production that has usually gotten you throughout his career, that's really not there anymore. And so the Diamondbacks know that. They still had a need for a third baseman, and they went out and got one. I guess it's absolutely not coincidental timing that Alex Bregman signs to the Cubs over the weekend, and then this move happens because other teams pivot to other options in the market, and Arenado seemed to be one of the next ones. And so I hope he does well over there. But bottom line is this: like, Cardinals needed to make this move because it's just a different era, guys. Like, this isn't the only name that's been traded away that you're familiar with. Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, now Arenado, and probably at some point Brendan Donovan. Because that's probably you look at that as like, okay, what's the return going to be? Because at this point, I think that's the Cardinals' biggest trade asset. And so you pay more attention to how successful or how unsuccessful the deal was based on what the Cardinals potentially would get back for a Brendan Donovan. And it seems that the Giants might be in on him. We'll see. There's apparently a couple guys that they're trying to decide between. But for now, we wait. I mean, but this was a necessary one, too, and we were kind of waiting to see if it was actually going to happen or if the Cardinals were once again going to play out this season with Arenado on their team, which, look, like, Arenado has earned the type of respect to do right by him, not put him in a spot where he doesn't want to go, full no trade clause, so you got to work with him on every single deal that you potentially do, and in the end, you finally found his spot. I do wonder, though, like, as a Cardinals fan, how do you feel you got the absolute best that you could have in the 5 years that Nolan Arenado was here? How do you feel about what that position produced for you and how productive it was as a Cardinals fan from 2021 when he first got to the Cardinals up until now? Do you see it as a success? I think I do. Arenado gave you a year where he was top 3 in MVP voting, 3 All-Star seasons, couple Gold Gloves. We're starting to also see the defense kind of maybe go away a little bit from what Arenado has been, which is maybe the most disappointing thing. But then again, like, you obviously brought him in for the glove, but it was mostly about getting the corners loaded down with some top offensive talent. So you brought in Arenado to pair him up with Goldschmidt. And at the time when that was, announced as the trade 5 years ago, you thought, man, this is one of the maybe best corner infield in Major League Baseball, potentially. And now, I mean, you got a year where both of them were MVP level. And that's still meaningful. Like, that peak is a good return for what the Cardinals had. It maybe seems a little short-lived, though. I know Arenado's getting up there in age, but it maybe seemed a little short-lived for really making this team the competitor that you want it to be. And it wasn't just Arenado's fault that he was tapering off. There are several other issues with the Cardinals that, you can blame the front office for not keeping the window open enough for stars like that to be not just consistently in the postseason, which the Cardinals for the last few years haven't been, but also continuously putting yourself in a spot where you can compete for pennants, championships, the like. It's ultimately what you brought Arenado in to be. And so when that ends, all of a sudden with, Cardinals won their division, I believe once, and then a wild card appearance with Arenado as well. And look, he was coming from a place where Rockies hadn't really won anything when he was there. They got, I believe, in the wild card, but they had never won their division. And Arenado had made clear of, when he came to say, like, hey, he wanted to win the division. And he ultimately did, at least once. But as a Cardinals fan, do you feel like the Nolan Arenado era essentially yielded the results that were put in front of you potentially for what it could be? If that makes sense. 875-KTGR if you want to weigh in on that. You can also comment on our YouTube channel and on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. And so you move on from that, and it's ultimately all about now just finding what the new foundation is, particularly for this infield. You've got Mason Wynn locked down at shortstop. That's not changing. Possibilities for the other three spots. Certainly for now, you're putting Alec Burleson, I believe, at first base. I think that's the reasonable thing to do now. Second base, we'll see. Certainly if you trade away Brendan Donovan, assuming that they do, second base, you think about it. Third base, you now think about it. I'd have to think third base now, you're looking at J.J. Weatherholt. You use his arm. He obviously shortstop type of arm, can play at third base. They kind of used him in the outfield at times, I think, in the minors last year to go along with the excellent bat that he has shown. But to me, I think you're kind of looking at Weatherholt to be the guy that could be in that third base spot in the end. So there's that clear opening that the Cardinals were seeking out for the 2025 season, because we're kind of talking about Weatherholt a little bit there, but maybe a little bit about Nolan Gorman, because you're still trying to figure out, okay, what is Nolan Gorman? What do we have here? We kind of found out he's still with this team. He's maybe what you put at second. If I had to guess today, I'd say he's your second baseman, assuming you trade away Brendan Donovan. And then I have to think like J.J. Weatherholt's probably your guy at third. He played third base a little bit at Memphis when he was there. 12 games at third base in Memphis, but the vast majority of where he played in this past 2025 season was at the shortstop spot, and he played some second base too. Second base also an option for J.J. Weatherholt. The question is, does that mean Nolan Gorman can go back to third base where he originally was? Just seemed that, recently Gorman has been more of that second baseman now going forward. So it's an interesting way of how the Cardinals will want to position it for the start of the year, because that does set a little bit of the precedent for future years. It kind of signals like where their direction's heading. Because, look, the rebuild is completely underway. You've moved Sonny Gray. You've moved Wilson Contreras. You've moved Arenado, and you're probably going to move soon Brendan Donovan. You could even move more. Who knows? Maybe other guys could be out the door. This is very clearly a teardown. And so when you look at that opening day roster, I think that not just the roster, but maybe just the lineup, it can send a pretty clear message as to how they're feeling about certain guys at that spot for not just this year, but maybe future years. So I would think that J.J. Weatherholt probably factors into that now. And we'll see on Nolan Gorman how they feel about him, but maybe give Thomas Ajayce a chance. Who knows? That maybe would be down the list for me. But Gorman is certainly a possibility for one of those spots, and then I think you have to give J.J. Weatherholt a shot now. Like that's the biggest clearance that the Arenado deal now gives for the Cardinals. So when you look at the return, and I'm sure Jack Martinez is great. Reports say he's got a live fastball, can pair it with a good secondary pitch, and maybe he works out. Was an 8th-round pick, pitched at Arizona State, but I don't think he pitched in the minors last year after he got drafted and headed into the organization in the summer. So, look, if it works out, great. It's another lottery ticket. Cardinals right now just need to gather up as many lottery tickets as possible and see if one of them works out for their pitching staff. Kind of like what they've done this offseason already with trying to acquire a few starters here and there, like the Dustin May deal. Or even for the bullpen where they bring in Ryan Stanek. And we'll see when that move gets official. I think this move would clear the 40-man spot to allow Stanek to maybe be officially announced. So we'll see on that. But it's all about now is creating that competition with a bunch of young, hungry players that just want to showcase themselves. And then as you put that puzzle together, how can it create a winner? Probably not going to happen all at once this year. So just be ready for that. But this was a major step in allowing the Cardinals to really go full steam ahead on the rebuild. It's one of the steps, I should clarify, because the other one is the Donovan move. We'll see when that happens. So call or text us on that. Again, Nolan Arenado traded away to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cardinals, as expected, have to pay pretty much 75% of the remaining money on Nolan Arenado's deal, worth the next 2 years, $42 million. And then in return, they get Jack Martinez, right-handed minor league pitching prospect. We'll see how that works out for St. Louis. Now on to Kansas City. Royals announcing an interesting move today. And that is the moving in of their right and left field fences. Team announces that they're going to move the fences in about 9 to 10 feet in left and right field. Center field staying the same at 410 to straightaway center. So you're not going to mess with the distance away that the crown scoreboard is. So 410, still the same in center field, but the power alleys are going to be a little bit shorter all the way around to the corners. I believe the dimensions, according to what the Royals release put out, is that it's going to be around 340 to around the corner spots, and that's about 9 feet closer in to where it once was, and then 10 feet closer in the power alleys. Bottom line, like that, they made this move, they say, after some extensive research from their analytics department, saying, look, we need to make our ballpark, they say, more home run neutral when it comes to other MLB stadiums that are similar to ours, because there's kind of been a sense that Kauffman Stadium is homer unfriendly or pitcher friendly. I'm not quite sure how pitcher friendly it is, because obviously more outfield to cover means there is more spots for the ball to drop into, and potentially that could cause an issue for pitchers, unless you're a fly ball pitcher and pretty much anywhere will do in the outfield, and you're able to get more chances at some outs there. But this would appear to be and I think it's the right one, by the way. I think the Royals are doing the right thing here. I don't know if it would have been the right move 10 years ago, but it is the right move now, based on what their roster has on it. 10 years ago, like their pitching, or really even 5 years ago, their pitching was not going to be able to stand a change like this. But I think the Royals have the type of pitching now that can adjust to this and not have too much of a hit to their own production numbers. And then, of course, when you have Vinny Pasquantino, and Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen and Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez, bunch of power hitters. Yeah, let's see if we can get him at least a few more home runs. That might have made the difference last year between playoffs or not. Might have. Don't know if I could pinpoint the exact moments where it could be, where a fly ball out was a home run for Vinny P or somebody else, or a double versus a home run, how it could have helped in that scenario for the Royals. I don't know, but maybe that's just a little bit of push to allow them to get a little more for their offense, even though they might be trading away a few more home runs to the teams that might be coming in. But as JJ Piccolo kind of landed out, like, if you're in a homer unfriendly ballpark, you might have the tendency to change your swing when you're hitting at home, and then you go out on the road and it might be a little easier to hit the home run, so you change your swing again. It just makes it a little more uniform. So that's obviously the way that the Royals are going to spin it, but I don't think they have to spin it that way. I just think, look, we've got a team that needs some help on offense, and our pitching's pretty good, so I think we can live with the fences being a little bit closer in. Yeah, let's try it out and see. And by the way, it's only going to be for 5 years because Kaufman's going away anyway. Like, you can just have this experiment for 5 years, and then when the lease runs out in 2030 and you got to find a new place to go, still don't know on that, by the way. That's a big question mark. Not sure where the Royals are going to be playing their games yet. It wouldn't seem that it's going to be Kansas, or at least under the same type of parameters that the Chiefs are, because the Chiefs got their proposal in for the Sarbon's proposal, and so they get all that state money. Royals missed out on that. Deadline's passed. It's like time's up. And so, like, you got to find a different plan now. So we'll see what happens on that front. But in the short term, no pun intended, the fences being a little bit closer, it's not going to turn the Royals into this major offense all of a sudden, but it does kind of play to the makeup of their roster at the moment, because they do have these up-and-comers like Caglione and Jensen, where if you are capping their power production at all, then you're not realizing their full potential. So you have to unlock whatever you can. And I think this is an innovative way to do it. And you get a few more seats, apparently 150 more seats on the left field side and about 80 more on the right field side. The fence is also going to be, the height of it is going to be shorter. It's going down from 10 feet to 8.5. So it's going to allow for a few more home run robberies, I would think, for balls that are right at the wall. But it allows for a defender to leap up a little bit easier over the wall and make a catch. So don't say it didn't help the defense. I think it is a right change for how the Royals look at the moment. And don't worry about what they're going to be 5-10 years from now, because they're going to be in a new building anyway. So just try it out. See how it goes. I think it's the right move. But let me know what you think. 573-875-KTGR. If you want to weigh in on the Royals moving their fences in at Kauffman a little bit, 9 to 10 feet in the right and left field walls. And also the Cardinals trading away Nolan Arenado. He is heading to the Arizona Diamondbacks. There's a lot of stuff today to discuss. We want your thoughts on it. 573-875-5847 here on The Big Show. You can also leave a comment on YouTube or on Facebook, or tweet us at KTGR Big Show on Twitter. We will get the thoughts of Will Carroll, the injury expert, on both the Nolan Arenado deal and the Kauffman Stadium dimensions being changed, but also which NFL injuries could be impacting the divisional round the most as we get to that weekend. That's with Will Carroll next year on The Big Show, KTGR.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now, wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Maybe you're like me and you're saying, you know what? This is the year, 2026. My backyard, my front yard, they're going to look pristine. Grass, perfectly manicured, hedges, perfectly trimmed, whatever it may be. And that's all well and good, but don't forget about your trees either. And look, those lawn care companies, they might know a thing or two about trees here and there, but they're not experts. Eric and his team at Advanced Tree Solutions, they're the experts. No one else in Columbia, Fulton, or Jefferson City takes care of your trees better, and no one can do it with the type of care and honesty and approach that Eric and his team has. Every time you work with him, you'll walk away knowing that your trees are getting the best care possible. So whatever it is, tree pruning for the winter, tree removal, stump grinding, so much more, call Eric and his team at Advanced Tree Solutions. Check out their full list of services and book now at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Designs. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing.
I don't have any cravings.
You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Stop smoking with hypnosis. Guaranteed. No irritability, no cravings. Because don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
It's finally the year, right? This time you're committed to getting in shape. In the current issue of Inside Columbia magazine, tone up with our read on local gyms. There's a fit for everyone. Keep warm and stylish this winter with area outfitter inspirations. And don't miss a single event, party, fundraiser, or concert with our community calendar section. This and much more in Inside Columbia magazine. Get yours at break time convenience stores or subscribe at InsideColumbia.net.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
We're back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here as we once again talk about the Cardinals, once again trading away one of their main players from years past, Nolan Arenado, a guy that they tried to trade last offseason, couldn't get it done. Now they finally do get it done. They send him off to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and here to talk all things baseball and football injuries with us, the injury expert, Will Carroll. Find him on Twitter at Injury Expert and at undertheknife.substack.com. That's where you can read Will Carroll's great insider info on Major League Baseball. And so we talked about the possibility of Arenado being traded for, it seems like a couple of years, Will. Now that it's finally happened, we know the return. We know what the Cardinals are going to be paying salary-wise to the other team to have Arenado be elsewhere. How do you kind of view that situation now, Will, as Arenado goes to Arizona and the Cardinals finally clear that roster spot they were trying to clear?
Yeah, they cleared the roster spot. There's still discussion about a couple other players being traded away. The question is, how do you backfill this? What is Chaim Bloom and his brain trust putting together? It's not enough just to tear it down. You have to try to make yourself better, and the quicker, the better. That part I just don't see. You know, the return for Arenado shows just how tough this deal was. They got him to a situation where things are better. He's certainly an upgrade for the Diamondbacks. If he has a bounce back year, it's even better. And they're getting him relatively on the cheap. They can afford it. For the Cardinals, how do they backfill it? How do they organize what they're doing? And I still don't think we've seen a complete picture of this. How they foresee the team and how it looks from out here are two entirely separate things. And knowing that they have things in the work, I want to wait and see, just how the picture looks when they're done painting.
It would seem that maybe that means what the future of Brendan Donovan would give us more of a full picture for what the Cardinals are trying to do. Because, so far, send Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras to Boston. You get some pitchers in return. You get a nice minor league prospect pitcher in return for Arenado. But it seems that maybe their biggest trade ship is still yet to be moved. Maybe a little bit of action on that here soon. What do you think about the prospect of Brendan Donovan being traded away? And will we get a fuller picture of what the Cardinals are after that?
Even then, I don't think they're done. I think they're going to be in on a couple of the lesser free agents. I think teams that, either bring somebody in or have something available, I think they'll pick and choose. This isn't a team that's going to win this year, but we're going to start to get an idea of how they start to build these things. And how exactly do you deploy those best pieces? Again, I think they have some challenge trade guys. You could trade away somebody like Nootbaar. You could trade away Jordan Walker. So there's a ton of things you could do here if you're running the Cardinals, but only one guy is right now.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Now on the Royals side, no real, injury news or player movement news, but fence movement news. It seems they announced today that they are moving in their left field and right field fences about 9 to 10 feet, center field staying the same, but they say it's in an effort to make Kauffman Stadium a little more neutral when it comes to hitting home runs. How do you kind of view that move, Will, and how it could either help or hurt the Royals in the next few years that they're going to be in Kauffman anyway?
Yeah, exactly. That's the bigger question. With the Chiefs moving west, we'll have to see what happens to that whole area, which was so amazing. It's still pretty good. Go to a game there, Arrowhead, good experience. Go to a game at Kauffman Field, still one of the best. What are we, about a decade after the last renovation? Moving the fences is interesting. The way they talked about it as neutral kind of tells me they think they were at a disadvantage. This isn't a team that was built on defense the way that last World Series team was. They didn't have the crazy athletes. They didn't have guys who could cover the ground. But do they really think this is about hitting? Do they think this is about defense? Do they think this is about neutralizing the field rather than having a disadvantage? I think they have to know. I think they have to at least think they know. This is something that's knowable. We've got all the StatCast stats. They know exactly who hit what home runs and where. Are they turning 5 of theirs into home runs and only 2 of the others? That's an advantage. And if you're the pitcher, maybe you're a little bit unhappy with this. If you're a pull hitter like Callejon, then you're a little bit happy about it. But how fields play does change from year to year. Just things like weather, which we're just starting to get a handle on it. We've always known wind had some effect, but bats and balls, we're just now figuring these things out. And it's 2026. It's kind of crazy.
It's fascinating, an interesting move by the Royals. And again, it's maybe just a 5-year thing. There's the whole stadium situation kind of up in the air anyway. And so we'll see what it does over these next 5 years at least. Now, Will, on to football. The injuries from this past weekend in the wild card round in the NFL. I think big one, obviously, George Kittle with the Achilles injury comes off for the 49ers. They don't have him for obviously rest of the playoffs. And then maybe next year in question a little bit too. What do you see on the Kittle situation? I know we've talked about him before about what his longevity could be at that spot, but I'm curious now with this latest setback, how you feel now.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible, especially for a team moving on in the playoffs. They lose one of their biggest weapons, but they've dealt with this before. He's not the most durable tight end. He's certainly a really good one when he's out there, but he's not going to be. So you can at least cross that one off for the next couple games. The question is, who's going to do the surgery? Well, what exact kind of surgery is he going to have? There are two different types. There's a type Aaron Rodgers has and is being used more, where they actually use that tightrope material that's kind of Kevlar-y. The other side is just kind of, I'll call it the Kobe Bryant micro mesh that they put in. Both are still done. And so we'll have to see which he does to see how quickly he can come back. With the tightrope, it's supposed to be 6 months. A lot of people remember Aaron Rodgers and all his hemming and hawing, but that's just Aaron Rodgers. That's not really the surgery or the rehab. So I'm curious to see where Kittle goes to see it. I think we'll see him head Neil Elitrosh, who's one of the top guys that does that, who I will probably see this weekend, doing a big presentation for Major League Baseball medical staff. And he's, of course, the Dodgers team doctor.
There you go. Well, say hi for us, if you will.
I will.
Absolutely. Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR. On the quarterback side, a couple guys kind of getting banged up during the game, but obviously still finishing the game. Matthew Stafford appeared to have a bit of an issue with the throwing hand, hit it off a helmet and was working out the fingers, and obviously still played rest of the game, but maybe something to watch. And then Josh Allen just continues to get beat up with the way that he's used and then how pockets are crashing on him at times. Just how you feel about those two quarterbacks going into their next matchups, knowing that they're going to be on the field, obviously, but how they manage the rest of the game.
I'm much more concerned about Stafford. We saw him bang the helmet, and yes, they said the x-rays were negative, but don't be fooled. There's other things in there besides bone. Even if you didn't break your finger, and you would have likely broken the tip. So could you play through that? Yes. I'm more worried about the ligaments and tendons in there. Does he have full grip strength? And we won't see that until he's throwing later this week. They probably know. They probably gave him 24 hours, got some anti-inflammatories in there. But we didn't hear about an MRI. So I don't think they're that concerned. It's not to say they didn't send him for one, that he didn't send himself. But I think he's going to go. With Allen, he just got beat up. I'm curious why he went in the tent. That wasn't made terribly clear. He was limping later. So you have to think it was something leg. Maybe he got stepped on again with that foot being a problem. So lots of things it could be, but he's used to that. That medical staff knows how to get him ready for the next game.
Certainly so. They will be busy with some other players, though. Obviously, in that last game, Gabe Davis came out. Looks like torn ACL for him. Jordan Poyer, hamstring, and he's probably going to miss this weekend, it looks like. How do you view they've had a lot of other guys around them that have had to be out with ailments themselves. Ty Johnson missed the last game. How do you feel about the Bills' situation heading into that one full strength-wise?
Yeah, that's the issue. I mean, we can certainly say that Gabe Davis isn't going to be there, which shortens their wide receivers possibilities even more than they already were. So they'll have to just adjust, and we'll see whether Josh Allen has to carry this team again with his legs. ACL this time of year, you have to put the start of next season in question, but almost everybody comes back from it. The hamstring, he's definitely out. This is a grade 2 hamstring. He's not going to be out there this week, probably not next. The Super Bowl, if they make it that far, that's possible, but not probable.
We shall see. Injury expert Will Carroll here on the Big Show, KTGR. And then in the Patriots-Texans game, couple players, one on either side, that appear to be in concussion protocol. Nico Collins for the Texans and Christian Gonzalez for the Patriots. Very possible that those two would be facing up one-on-one with each other on the field if they're both healthy. I wonder how you see those two situations there, Will.
Yeah, with concussions, we just don't know. And the schedule is going to come into play. If you had a Sunday game and you're playing Saturday, and I know they have the schedule out, I can't remember which game is which off the top of my head, but there is a shorter period of time to come back. So if you have 1 day longer, you don't have it. Now, you can clear in 4 days. You can wait. You can do day of to have that final independent. So they're going to have every chance, but we won't know until they've actually cleared that protocol. If they do, they should play normally. And having Collins especially would be great for C.J. Stroud and the Texans.
Will, what's new at Under the Knife?
Tons. I'm actually working on a big project. I mentioned I'm giving a big presentation about the $1 billion loss that Major League Baseball had last year. But I'm doing a big project on just how good Ron Washington is. He's always been known as a defensive genius. We've all seen Moneyball and know the Scott Hatteberg story, but I'm digging in really, really deep on this to see if having a guy like him around does make a difference to wins and losses.
Very interesting. An interesting guy in the sport, no doubt about it. So go and check that out from the injury expert, Will Carroll. Find him on Twitter at Injury Expert. And go and subscribe now to his newsletter, undertheknife.substack.com. As we get closer and closer to Major League Baseball season, you'll want to make sure that you're reading that. Will, thanks for coming on the Big Show as always. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Big Show is on at 442 KTGR and the KTGR app. So some good insights there from Will on all the injuries in the NFL. Of course, the Cardinals trading away Nolan Arenado and his thoughts on the Kauffman Stadium stuff with the fences being moved in. You'll be able to hear that full interview soon at ktgr.com or on our podcast page. You can buy not buy. You don't have to buy anything with us. It is totally free. You can access all of our content on the KTGR app, both our YouTube videos as well as our podcasts. If you want to just listen in audio form, of course, be sure to go and check out the free KTGR app. All right, on to the bus coming up next. We should just let them play 5 years in college football. If we're making this rule, then we should just let them play 5 years. Everybody. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells at leestirecompany.com. Cardinals officially dealing away Nolan Arenado to the Arizona Diamondbacks today. In exchange, the Cardinals get right-handed minor league pitching prospect Jack Martinez and also pay down almost 75% of Nolan Arenado's $42 million remaining on his 2-year contract. Arenado spent 5 years in St. Louis. During that time was a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner. Offensive numbers tapered off last year, though, hit just .237 with 12 homers and 52 runs batted in. Royals announced today that their left and right field fences are moving in 9 to 10 feet. Center field staying the same, but the fence is moving in right and left field is in an effort to make the ballpark more home run neutral across the rest of Major League Baseball. Royals also are adding about 220 seats as a result of the dimensions change. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Advanced Tree Solutions. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking light showers moving through mid-Missouri through about midnight, leaving us with gusty winds and colder temperatures for tomorrow, staying in the 30s throughout the day with wind chills in the 20s. By tomorrow night, temperatures fall into the teens with wind chills between 7 and 10 degrees by Thursday morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the high school sports power play of the week.
Here's Price dribbling left side, got past Higgins, but then blocked at the rim by Jada Porter. Picks up the loose change, gives up before to Higgins. Now back to Porter, drives inside. Porter, floater up and in. Jada Porter, great body control herself in the fast break. 15-point lead for Rockbridge.
That's the power play of the week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m.
You're a merchant of all things that are man. Firearms, fishing, cars, food, sports. Yeah, the kind of stuff every man always needs more of. So show it off at the Mecca of Man. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Event Center where the Boone County Fair is held. It's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Seriously, by showing them. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. For more info on being a vendor at the Man Show, go to ComoManShow.com.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Hi, I'm David Bale, Exterior Project Specialist for True Sun Exteriors and Interiors. Unlike a lot of our competition, we have a 5-year labor warranty, which ensures that even after 1 or 2 seasons, if an issue rears its ugly head, we're going to stand behind it. Any new installation we do, which is going to be roofing, siding, decks, windows, doors, all that kind of stuff has a full 5-year labor warranty. So we're going to stand behind all of our workmanship for 5 years after the installation is complete. Let's just say hypothetically, we get a storm or something and maybe something comes loose or there's some caulking that gets out of whack. We do a roof and a leak shows up a year later. Sometimes you get a weird storm. You just never know what's going to happen. Anything like that, we're going to stand behind it. We're going to take care of it.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
So the FBS coaches meeting at the AFCA convention today, they voted to have the red shirt rule be moved from essentially 4 games to 9 games. So that would mean if this rule were to be in place, it's not in place yet. Division I committee still has to review it and actually put it in place. This is just the FBS coaches voting in favor of it. If you play in 9 games, you could potentially have a redshirt year. That's like 75% of the season. And oh, by the way, probably doesn't count postseason games in there either. So you could potentially play 9 games and then play, if we're in an expanded playoff, 4 or 5 more after that. So as many as 14 games and still keep your redshirt. If we're doing this, just give them 5 years. Like, just do that. Why bother saying, oh, you can play in 9 games and not have it count as a year of eligibility? Then just give them another year. Instead of players who are trying to preserve that red shirt and then maybe enter the transfer portal after that, say like, I don't like this situation. I'm going to red shirt. But that happens in September now, so that they don't play a max of 4 games. And so you'd rather have them make that decision earlier than in November, when depth starts to get eaten into by injuries and everything like that. And now all of a sudden you have players just up and leaving the program, preserving their red shirt after they played 9 games. Just give them 5 years. If you're going to mess with the red shirt rule, then just give them an extra. Have them play 5 and 5 years, whatever it is. Don't mess with just having it be 9 games, as many as you can play in your first year, and keep a red shirt. Like, what's the point then? There's none. Like, there do need to be guardrails on eligibility. It's gotten kind of insane anyway. But if we're going to do this, just give them another year. Give them 5 years, which would already sound kind of insane, but that's kind of where we're at. Also, under the bus to Jordan Addison. This, again, might be a situation where he can fight it and say, well, this was a false arrest, and that's obviously what his legal team is saying that they're going to try and do, and they fully expect that he's going to be exonerated from the arrest that he just recently had. But this is now the 3rd run-in like this with the law for Jordan Addison since he was drafted by the Vikings, and it's kind of similar to the Rashee Rice stuff. Like, at some point, it's too much of a headache for the organization. And I don't know how bad it was. Clearly, he was speeding. We know that. He was going 140, which is way too dangerous, and luckily he didn't crash into anybody like Rashee Rice did. So, like, you know that was bad, and he needs to learn from that mistake. But if this is another thing for Jordan Addison that you've got to have be part of your headache space as the Vikings, at what point is it just not worth it? He's a great player, but at some point, you might have to think about down the line whether you're going to extend him or not because of all of this stuff. It's very similar to the Rice case. And I don't know. Right now, Jordan Addison, maybe it is a false arrest. I don't know. Facts will come out. They'll review it, everything like that. But for now, it's just stay out of the news, buddy. Same message to Rashee Rice. Stay out of the news. And this was just funny. Under the bus to, I guess, all the reporters in the Boston Celtics media room after the game when the Celtics lost to the Bucks last night, and Joe Mazzulla had his post-game press conference, and this was the entire extent of it. Take a listen.
Take us through the last couple possessions.
Illegal screen.
What'd you say?
Illegal screen.
Illegal screen.
Illegal screen.
What fell apart to get you guys behind, and then how were you able to get back?
Illegal screen.
What do you mean by that? What do you want people to know?
Illegal screen.
Would you like to say anything else?
Illegal screen.
Would you like to say anything else? Illegal screen. Yeah, I think we got that part. Obviously, he was upset that there was an illegal screen on Pascal Siakam not called in his estimation, which, by the way, for what it's worth, NBA's last 2 minutes report just came out, and they said it was probably an illegal screen. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But it was, Siakam probably was moving when he tried to screen him there. So, I mean, at least Joe Mazzulla probably has a point. But, I mean, entire press conference, any kind of question was responded by him as illegal screen. And, well, I guess he got that point across. And this is cool. Mizzou Gymnastics obviously off to a great start, but this seems to be like kind of a year-long recognition that one of their gymnasts is getting. Kaija Tanskanen was named the Finnish Gymnast of the Year by the Finnish Gymnastics Federation, the entire country of Finland. They deem their best gymnast last year the Missouri Tiger, Kaija Tanskanen. That's pretty cool. So congrats to her. She had a great weekend at the Meritos Masters Classic, as did the rest of Mizzou Gymnastics over in Lincoln, Nebraska over the weekend. We're going to talk to Shannon Welker at 5:45 about that and how they're preparing for the gauntlet SEC schedule that is coming very soon. It starts this weekend as the Tigers host Oklahoma at Mizzou Arena. New digs for them, of course. That's their primary venue now, moved from the Hearn Center to Mizzou Arena for most of their home competitions. So Shannon Welker going to talk about that with us at 5:45. Stay tuned for that here on The Big Show. Again, congrats to Kaya Tanskanen on being named the Finnish Gymnast of the Year. Also, in the meantime, at 5:05, give me your good, bad, and ugly from the wild card round in the NFL. I kind of liked last night's Steelers ugly a little bit, a little selfishly, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. We'll also talk at 5:25 about Mizzou football adding another quarterback transfer and what that could mean. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about, is there a little bit of angst right now over the transfer portal haul at the moment for Mizzou football? Little bit of nervousness. We'll maybe address that too. 5:05 or 5:25, beg your pardon, here on The Big Show. Call or text us with your thoughts on it and keep it here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Hypnosis, only $59.99. Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m.
KTGR and MU Healthcare Sports Medicine are highlighting a local athlete each week. It's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight.
This week features Father Tolton Junior guard Hannah Cox, who recorded the first double-double of her career against Richland with 16 points and 13 rebounds. Hannah averaged over 12 points and 8 rebounds in the Trailblazers' 3 wins last week.
That's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight, thanks to MU Healthcare Sports Medicine, providing everything athletes need to be and stay at their best, because they're competitors too.
When it comes to you having unique and trendy items, your business has the it factor. People who come in love the store, the quality, and the prices. Now you just need to pump up the foot traffic. You need to be part of the ShopMidmo.com community of businesses who are growing their customer base. ShopMidmo.com will get your store and products in front of thousands of potential customers. If you know your store has the it factor, give it a jump start. ShopMidmo.com can be your launching pad. Find out how. Contact us at
ShopMidmo.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, "Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a 3-legged lean. Well, Coco, Kretsch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside."
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. One of the longest head coaching runs ever in North American pro sports has ended. Mike Tomlin's stepped down after 19 seasons with the Steelers. 1 week after AFC North rival Baltimore fired John Harbaugh. The Tomlin news broke today during a previously scheduled news conference for Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti. When asked if he'd consider hiring Tomlin, Bisciotti had this response.
Holy Mike, wouldn't that be awesome? Only if John takes the Pittsburgh job. Wow, wouldn't that be interesting? I don't know. That thing last week maybe disqualified him from my opening after our kicker missed a kick to let them advance.
What he was referring to was that win in the regular season finale by the Steelers, winning the division and knocking the Ravens from playoff contention. Because Tomlin resigned while still under contract, Pittsburgh retains his coaching rights, could negotiate compensation if he takes an NFL job before the end of the 2027 season. Eagles removed Kevin Patullo from their offensive coordinator role.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Just kidding. It's only me. No Brendan today. 573-875-KTGR if you want to call or text us to talk about the NFL. Again, wild audio from the Ravens owner just now, as you heard in the National Sports Center. This coaching carousel has the makings of being a pretty insane one. Maybe not this year's college football levels, but it's going to be pretty impactful in the NFL. In the meantime, we'll also get our good, bad, ugly in from Wild Card Weekend in the NFL. Give us yours at 573-875-KTGR or a comment on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook channel or a tweet at KTGR Big Show. Plus some Mizzou transfer talk. They're adding another quarterback, it would seem. 525, we'll discuss that. And what Mizzou's done in the transfer portal so far. Is it enough? Will it be enough? We'll talk about that. And at 545, Mizzou gymnastics coach Shannon Welker joins us. But first, before any of that, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Finally, right? I think a lot of Cardinals fans are saying that when it comes to Nolan Arenado being traded away to the Arizona Diamondbacks today. In exchange, Cardinals get Jack Martinez, a right-handed pitching prospect, back to their club. And then they send a bunch of money Arizona's way, $31 million reportedly of the $42 million remaining on Arenado's contract. And so, look, it's not a great return, but that's kind of what was expected at this point in time. Cardinals could have traded him sooner. They had a chance to trade him sooner, but Arenado nixed it with his no-trade clause and said, no, I'm not going to Houston. But he decided to lift the no-trade clause for this move. So Cardinals did well by Arenado in that sense, and mostly what they're getting in return is the ability to move on and use that roster spot and see who can play at third base. Thomas Ajayci an option, Nolan Gorman an option. I think it kind of needs to be J.J. Weatherholt, but we'll see.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Royals making moves, too, to their fences at Kauffman Stadium. They're moving in a little bit, 9 to 10 feet in the left and right field walls. Center field staying the same, but this could allow for maybe a few more home runs at Kauffman Stadium. Of course, that does mean for both teams, but it seems that the Royals might be making this play to maximize their power hitters that they have and that are young, like Caglione and Carter Jensen. And they have the pitching right now that I think can hold up in the short term for that. But we will see how it actually plays out as it starts in 2026.
Number 3.
Quarterback Nick Evers is committing to Mizzou football. So the Tigers now have 2 transfer quarterbacks this offseason. Austin Simmons, widely expected to be the starter. And so with Evers in the fold, you think he becomes another backup option. Obviously, Matt Zauer's still around, but maybe it allows you, if you want to really redshirt Zauers, then you can put Evers in as the backup potentially and save that year. Interesting move. Mizzou in the transfer portal so far. We'll talk about it at 525.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Well, Mike Tomlin stepping down after the Steelers lost to the Texans last night in the wild card round, and that means 9 head coach openings across the NFL. And I don't know if Tomlin's actually going to take another job. He might just do TV. And by the way, Steelers hold his rights. They could trade him if they wanted to.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Guys, it's just 5 years to play 5 years now in college football. That's essentially what they want.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
573-875-KTGR. Like the rule that the FBS coaches are at least voting to change essentially gives players a fifth year. So I just don't know why they just up and say, yeah, you get a fifth year now. And I don't understand that. Obviously, this comment on our YouTube channel, why even make them enroll in classes anymore? Ain't there to play school? I mean, yeah, they're there to play football, no doubt about it. And there is still this structure that we have to college football, that they are still students. And in order to play for the school, you have to go to the school and have classes and study at the school and everything like that. But we know that that's not the driving force for most players, obviously. And everybody's different. But for most players, it's not the driver of where they're going to be going to school. And so, the fact that this is now offset from the actual school span that you're using as a college student, which is typically 4 years, but now you give them 5 years. We are ripping further and further away from trying to keep the student aspect to this each and every day. And I don't know where that leads. I would hopefully make sure, if I were in charge, that eligibility does cut off at some point. Okay, fine. 5 years. Give them 5 years, but nothing more. If you get hurt, maybe an extra one, but that, no. Can't spend all this time in college. There can be special circumstances, but if you're sticking around in college for 5, 6, and in some cases 7 years, then you're just taking the class to play football. And at that point, why are you taking the class? So it's obviously a major problem that has to get solved down the road, but the can is continuously being kicked that direction. And I don't know where it leads. Eligibility does need to be capped, though. Can't have these guys just playing in college football for as long as they want to. Otherwise, it's just the NFL. And I worry that that's people say, well, just do collective bargaining. First of all, players need to want it. And I don't see a reason why most of the players would want collective bargaining right now. And two, if you make them employees, then how can you enforce eligibility? How can you do it? Legally, how does that happen? I just don't understand how they're going to get past that point. So, lots still to figure out there. But I'm obviously not smart enough to figure out at all. I just give my opinion on it. 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text with your random thoughts of the day when it comes to sports. But we definitely want your random good, bad, and ugly thoughts on the NFL as we roll in the music here after Wild Card Weekend. Good, bad, and ugly. 573-875-KTGR to call or text us with yours. Tell us from the games or even just from the news of the last 24 hours involving coaching changes and resignations, namely one Mike Tomlin after that ghastly performance by the Steelers last night. I mean, look, didn't have to ask me to enjoy that. I enjoyed every bit of it, obviously. Well, let's amend that. I did not enjoy the first 3 quarters of the game, as I'm sure most neutral viewers would agree. Kind of ugly football last night. C.J. Stroud dropping it on the turf every 5th snap. That's assuming that the snap was a good one. And then the Steelers on the other side just not being able to move the ball at all. Aaron Rodgers being completely enveloped by the Texans' pass rush. I mean, defensive struggle, obviously, through 3 quarters. I was telling my wife last night, my wife was saying, well, you're winning, but we're only winning by 1, and we have looked awful. As a Texans fan, I was saying that. And then, of course, I text Brendan. As Brendan texts me, he says, Stroud looks awful. And I'm like, yeah, man. And I told him point blank, Will Anderson is scoring a touchdown before C.J. Stroud does for the rest of this game. Obviously, Stroud had already thrown one to Christian Kirk, but I said, kind of towards the end of the third quarter, Will Anderson is scoring a touchdown before Stroud scores another. And then Will Anderson gets a strip sack, and it was Sheldon Rankins who picked up the ball and ran it in for a defensive touchdown. And then I texted Brendan back, said, I meant Rankins. Obviously, I meant Sheldon Rankins, not Will Anderson. Anderson was the one who was going to hit the ball out. Rankins was the one who was going to score. True story. That actually did happen. Brendan can attest. He's not here to attest, unfortunately, but he can attest that that did, in fact, happen. That was pretty predictable for me last night. I saw a Texans team that honestly struggled to move the ball themselves against the Steelers on the road. I still have a lot of questions about the Texans offense. I have a lot of questions about C.J. Stroud. It was an ugly night for C.J. Stroud. We can be honest about that. Didn't help that Nico Collins went out with a concussion. Christian Kirk was really the only receiver that he could go to. So that's tough, but that's not a great performance. And clearly you need to improve it as the week rolls along and you go see the Patriots. But of course, obviously, the Steelers, oh my, as ugly as it gets. Aaron Rodgers is just staring blankly on the sideline, watching it all happen. And could his final pass of his NFL career be that pick six, where he not only throws the interception, but he also gets shoved out of the way by the guy carrying the ball, goes out of bounds, and the guy still scores? I mean, if that's the final pass, my goodness, he had a okay season by his standards, I should say. But that's about as I expected it to go towards the end. Probably bring the Steelers to the playoffs, sneak in somehow, but won't win another playoff game. And that's kind of been the Mike Tomlin blueprint over the last, decade or so. So now he's stepping down, Mike Tomlin is, and I found it very interesting. Saw it out on Twitter that, look, they're not firing him. He's just stepping down. So we could potentially see a situation like we saw with Sean Payton in New Orleans, where the team still has his rights in their possession. So even if he takes a year off and does TV, they could trade him somewhere else and get something back for him. Steelers got to do that, right? They have to. They have to find a way to do that within the next year or so. I don't know exactly the timing of how it has to happen, but they got to do that. I think no question. Because you can get probably something back for an organization to have Mike Tomlin as their head coach come in. By the way, I don't even think Tomlin needs to coach this year. He can do TV if he wants to. If he's coached his last game even, I'd be totally cool with that. And that's not a knock on Mike Tomlin. I don't think he needs to prove anything. He's already got his championship. He already has 19 consecutive winning seasons, never had a losing season as a head coach. Yes, the playoff record is what it is. Left a lot to be desired for Steelers fans, and certainly most recently. But what else do you have to prove, man? Go sit and be an analyst somewhere, make a whole lot of coin that way, and don't even worry about it. Now, these guys are wired differently. They obviously want to always get back into the coaching game. But to me, man, if it was me, if I had that type of success as a coach, I'd be like, no, I'm cool. I'll talk about the game. I'll go to the games as a media personality and stay around the game that way. I don't know. I'm not in his head. Obviously, he has his own decision to make, but we shall see. Give us your good, bad, and ugly from the NFL weekend, 573-875-KTGR. Sam's here on the KTGR hotline. Sam, what you got?
The good. I would even go as far as to say it's the cathartic, the brilliant, the amazing, the God-given talent of Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. 25 points in the fourth quarter to beat the hated Packers. What a game.
Pretty good. Pretty good,
What?
Sam. Pretty good stuff.
The bad, Brendan betting against the Bears.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And cheering against Luther Burden.
Who would do
I still
that?
have not forgiven him for that.
Yeah.
I wish he was here today because I would give him an earful.
All right.
But Brendan, I hope you bet for the Rams this time around again this weekend. 20 degrees in Chicago for kickoff. It's going to be cold for the Rams and for the Bears, but it'll be a fun night in Chicago. And the Packers giving up that lead, especially Brandon minus 7 points for missing 2 field goals and an extra point.
Ooh.
How about that? That's the reason that they lost that game. I mean, there's obviously other reasons, but that played a big role in it.
Oh, missed kicks, man. At this time of year, they're crucial. Appreciate the call, Sam, here on the Big Show, KTGR. Yeah, man, everything went exactly as I'm sure the Packers wanted it to go in the first half, and then just poof. It does baffle the mind how quickly it can flip that way, and how this particular team in the Bears has allowed it to flip for them so often this year. And even when the stakes are that high against that opponent, that, look, you could chalk up the last game as, you know what, some weird stuff happened in that one. Onside kick, everything. 2-point conversion. I don't think you can mistake right now that the way that the Bears win their games is a skill. We talked about it with the Chiefs last year. That was still a good team, not without its flaws, and those were obviously exposed in the Super Bowl, but winning is a skill. Not being out of it and keeping the mentality of your group together, regardless of any kind of adversity that might hit their way, and continuing to perform to the level that you need after that, that's a skill. It's a coaching skill. It's a mental state the players have to develop over the course of time. And the Bears had it all to be able to stay within that game and just approached it the right way. Ben Johnson made sure that his team was not necessarily in hurry-up mode. They're not in a hurry, but let's be quick. Let's not rest on our laurels of, well, we know we're going to get at least 4 possessions, and so we'll just score on all 4 of those possessions. No, look, they didn't score on every possession in the second half, but they still were able to get what they needed because they went with the sense of urgency that you need to extend games and pull off those types of comebacks. So, yes, absolutely good on the Bears for doing that. I believe Sean on our Facebook page gave the same good. Bears throwing victory. The bad, the Chargers and the Steelers play. Man, the Chargers. I would say ugly on their offensive struggles in that game against the Patriots. I don't even know if the Patriots even played all that well in the game themselves, but never felt at any point that the Chargers were going to win. But never. Maybe you could say that the door was kind of open for into the second half, but the Chargers and Justin Herbert in particular, this is going to continue to be a narrative on him. Is he worth it? Is he worth what they paid him? I still don't know. Because are we still just talking about the fact that he throws a pretty ball? Where are the results? Right now, it's been great regular season, at least good enough to get into the postseason as a 7 seed. But once you get to the playoffs, fall flat on your face, have a performance that is bad to dreadful, had a big lead against Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars, and then obviously it goes all the way. Partly Brandon Staley's fault, not all on Justin Herbert. But this happened last year too, with the turnovers in their playoff game at Houston. He's their quarterback. That's who they've tied themselves to. Is it going to be enough to get him over the top? I see no evidence to support that claim. And then Sean's ugly, the Packers giving up an 18-point lead. Yeah, my stance is that if you don't have a shot at John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin, Packers just need to keep LaFleur. Like, he's not a bad coach. You can have questions about whether he gets you over the top versus other coaches. But he's not a bad coach. He keeps your baseline to put you in striking distance of where you want to go. You can still have questions as to whether he's actually the guy to take you there. So I think when you go into, like, he's obviously not going to coach on a 1-year deal, so maybe you go in and give him a 2-year deal. That's possible. Packers could do that. I don't know if they've said that one way or the other how they're going to treat it, but that'd be what I do. Just kind of keep status quo right now. This coaching site, there are a lot of openings, so the top candidates, you've got to be really attractive for them. I understand the Packers would be a pretty attractive job, but messing up with that camaraderie that coaching staff has built with that team, I do think there is some value in keeping that intact so that you at least give yourselves shots to advance in the playoffs year after year. But it's going to be an interesting discussion. If you have a chance at Harbaugh, go get Harbaugh. If you have a chance at Tomlin, go get him. But not a guarantee. Call or text us with your good, bad, and ugly, 573-875-KTGR from NFL Wildcard Weekend. Getting to the text line here. Niner A, of course. Oh, yeah, good weekend for Niner A. Says the good, the Niners knock out the Eagles. The bad, Kittle gets hurt. Yeah, it's a bad one there. And the Rams win was his ugly. I mean, you kind of call it by the Rams standards an ugly win based on the fact that we at least didn't necessarily expect the Panthers to have a shot at winning the game, potentially to cover it, but not to have the ball in their hands with a chance to get the game-winning drive at the very end. That maybe wasn't in our realm of possibility chamber going into it. And so you maybe look at the Rams and you see it like, okay, defensively, are you going to be able to clean things up against Seattle? Is that going to happen? Not so sure. It's tough place to play, obviously. The last time they played there, the offense was the main issue. I mean, that Week 18 game where you're playing for the 1 seed and the Seahawks come away with the 13-3 win, Purdy kind of needs George Kittle, right? You don't have him anymore. You're going to have to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey, who in that game carried it only 8 times for 23 yards. The Niners ran 42 offensive plays in that game. That's not enough. It's not to go and beat that team on the road. Got to get at least 60 for a chance to win there. It's not a great matchup going in. I'll just prepare you for that, Niner A. I know you're probably mentally preparing for it too. But look, there's got to be some sort of defensive push here soon as well. Interesting that Fred Warner's practice window opened up. I don't know if that means he plays this weekend, but maybe down the line if they somehow get past the Seahawks. I don't know if I see it, but we'll obviously have to play the games to find out. We haven't yet talked about Bills-Jags. I mean, great game, obviously. Brendan and I obviously went back and forth yesterday on whether the Bills should have bled more time with a minute left. Not having the touchdown in hand just yet. I still say, got the touchdown. No guarantees in this game. When you're down 4 and not getting a touchdown means you lose the game, you don't just throw away one of your 4 chances to get a touchdown. You try to get it, and then you deal with the rest later. You deal with the clock left and defending when that comes around. I think in that situation, you trust your defense to get the stop. I understand Brendan feels differently, but worked out for the Bills. Will that work out in Denver? The Bills, as we mentioned with the injury expert Will Carroll, pretty banged up right now. I mean, Josh Allen's banged up, but he's playing. But it seems that, I mean, he lost Gabe Davis, obviously, torn ACL. And it seems that Shaver's also, that season-ending injury, not going to be available rest of the playoffs. So wide receiver room, very thin for the Bills at the moment. Going up against that Denver defense on the road. Like, I get it. Josh Allen is him, but might be too much to overcome. I would like the Bills to win because all season long I've been telling you the Broncos are frauds and they have proven me wrong at every step of the way. I'd finally like to see them lose in the game that actually counts, to the point where maybe we were right about them the whole time, but I don't know if the Bills are going to have enough valuable bodies on the field to make that upset happen. We'll see. But the way it's shaping up, if you ask me, I think we're looking at an NFC championship game that'll be Rams and Seahawks, which will set up a great rematch from the game we saw late in the year that went down to overtime. But so that on the NFC side, and I think we'll see Denver and who do I pick my Texans to go to New England and win? I'm going to do it. Stroud will have to be a little more protected in that game. Nico Collins' availability can be very important, but I'll say it's I have to make sure that before I pick the Texans to win big games like this, that they've shown me things that they haven't shown me before. And last night they did. Never won a road playoff game, but they did it last night. I don't know. Maybe this is the year. Who knows? Good, bad, and ugly. 875-KTGR. Call or text us with yours to let us know what you thought was good and bad and downright ugly from this past weekend in the NFL. We have Shannon Welker of Mizzou Gymnastics joining us at 5:45, but up next, some Mizzou football transfer portal talk. Are they going to replace everything they lost in the transfer portal eventually? Portal closes this week. Are they going to recoup that lost production? That's next on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
We're here at Menards Bag Sale, asking shoppers what they're putting in the bag to get 15% off.
Paint, batteries, tools, toilet paper, extension cords, grocery items,
hardware for my cabinets,
snack items, crackers, and some canned good stuff.
Shop vac supplies, toothpaste, cereal, coffee, dog treats. I've got a lot of stuff to grab.
The list goes on, but the sale ends January 24th. Hurry in for Menards 15% off bag sale. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, and stress eating. Also stop smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30, stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Losing a loved one is probably the hardest punch you will ever take in the fight of life. Dealing with the fallout, finances, and how to replace that loss of income for your family is even harder. That's why Phyllis Nichols and her team are so passionate about life insurance. Phyllis Nichols is the 12-round agent who fights for your best interests and knows exactly what you need. Get your life insurance with State Farm agency licensed Phyllis Nichols, the 12-round agent.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. When winter hits, electrical issues can turn serious fast, at home or at your business. That's why you need a trusted local team that shows up, solves the problem, and stands behind the work. From whole home generators and security systems to everyday service and repairs, Midway Electric has you covered. And now through January, get $500 off a whole home generator installation to keep you powered up no matter the weather. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
You've seen them in the store, the sample people, peddling frozen meatballs and tiny toothpicks stuck inside even tinier cubes of aged cheddar. At shopmidmo.com, we don't need free cheese to get your attention. We've got real deals on local stuff you actually want. Restaurants, spas, family fun, car care, and more. All for up to 50% off. No samples, no gimmicks, no tiny toothpicks. Just the best deals in mid-Missouri.
Shopmidmo.com. Shopmidmo.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Call or text us with your good, bad, and ugly from NFL Wild Card Weekend. 573-875-KTGR here on The Big Show. Andy here. No Brendan today or for the rest of this week. Family is growing this week, so congrats to him. Still no news on or updates on that just yet. In the process, obviously. So we'll patiently wait for that. In the meantime, call or text us at 573-875-KTGR to join the show. We'll have Shannon Welker join us of Mizzou Gymnastics at 5:45, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's talk some Mizzou football transfer portal. The news today, or within the last 24 hours or so, Tigers adding another transfer quarterback. We talked about maybe the possibility of this with the situation that Mizzou has, bringing Matt Zowers back, signing Austin Simmons. Simmons, your presumed starter coming from Ole Miss. They obviously deemed him starter worthy at the start of the year in Oxford. And so I think it's enough to trust that and that Simmons is your guy. You obviously don't tell Matt Zowers that he's completely out of it, but you let him compete, but you probably are going to go with Simmons. But maybe if you are truly wanting to give Matt Zowers that year that you wanted to give him last year, because you had both Bo Prabula and Sam Horn, and both of them got hurt, so you had to play Zowers. This potentially could be a chance for you to give Zowers that redshirt year that you were planning to have him have, and then as a redshirt sophomore, potentially he hits the ground running as a starter, or at least a strong candidate to be your starter in 2027. Well, now you maybe have that set up as the Tigers bring in another transfer quarterback. Nick Evers comes from UConn. Mizzou will be his fourth school. This is his last year of eligibility. Spent 2 years with the Huskies, mainly as their backup. Didn't really play a lot last year, but he actually got a good amount of work in 2024 as he went in and passed for 900 yards. Very, very modest numbers, obviously, but seen as a good option that is capable if, in fact, you need to break glass and go back down your quarterback depth chart. Should anything happen to Austin Simmons? You obviously hope not. But each of the last couple of years, Mizzou's starting quarterback has had to miss at least one game. So, got to have a backup plan. So that appears to be either Nick Evers or Matt Zowers. Maybe Zowers still outperforms Nick Evers and you are fine with him being your backup. And maybe you still have a chance to preserve his red shirt that way. Although, if that vote today of FBS coaches saying, hey, 9 games is as much as you can play to preserve your red shirt, then maybe just cool. Play Matt Zowers as much as you want. Heck, he probably could have preserved the red shirt this past year because of that. Right? How many games did he play? I don't think he played 9 games. Obviously, he didn't play against Oklahoma, didn't play against Arkansas. And then start of the year, it was all Bo Prabula for most of the conference season. I think Matt Zowers only played about half the conference games. So theoretically, if that rule were already in place, maybe gets grandfathered in. I don't know. But there are no rules anymore. Eligibility is just a construct, right? Nowadays. And so we'll see on that front. But I'm getting the sense around, not even just around this move. I think it was a fine move. Like, yeah, get another quarterback in the room. Have several options to turn to if you have to really turn to them. That's all well and good. And as long as Nick Evers wants to come here knowing that he's in an ideal situation, not going to get playing time, fine, have him be here. But how do we feel about the class as a whole? I mean, right now, as it stands at the moment, 16 players in, you lost 20-ish, lost a lot of starters on defense, not just to the portal, but also to graduation, things like that, going to the NFL draft. You've got still some holes left. You need more edge rushers, I think. You don't feel great about that room going in based on what you had last year, obviously, which was almost an embarrassment of riches to have both Zion Young and Damon Wilson with the seasons that they had. It's hard to replace that, but do you have the difference maker there at that position that clearly steps up and tries to get that type of production? Not right now, you don't. I feel kind of the same way at corner. I don't know if you have enough there. Jaleel Florence hasn't played really in 2 years. Is he going to play up to snuff now? Don't know. You need more guys that can compete for those spots in the event the answer is no to that question. Lots of other stuff. Is the offensive line where you want it to be? Do you have enough guys to compete for those spots? What about wide receiver? I think still a good amount of questions that need to be answered. And Mizzou recently has missed out on a few guys that may have answered some of those questions. Like, you know, they had in for a visit the two Alabama defensive linemen that were basically a package deal, but it looks like they're going to Ohio State. Wendell Gregory going to Kansas State. That could have been another edge rusher that you bring into the room. So there's a little bit of angst around that. Two things. First of all, it's not over. Yes, the portal closes on Friday, but doesn't mean that players need to choose their destination by Friday. You can have visitors, I think, probably for maybe a couple more weeks after the portal closes, and guys can still make their decisions. Obviously, got to enroll in school and everything like that. Follow those rules, of course, even though you're right, they're not here to play school, but still got to go through those procedures. You can have guys enter the portal here in the next few days or so that you have more of a chance of getting. Or guys could enter the portal after the national championship game. Guys at Indiana and Miami could enter in there. Now, it's a small group, and I don't think it's something you have to overly rely upon. I think for the most part, the pool that you are picking from are guys that are in the portal right now. And look, there's still options out there. You can still go out and get them. But now is the time to get some hits, right? You're up against it. It's getting a little late in the game, maybe the 6th, 7th inning or so. And you need to make up a bit of a deficit here. So that's what your goal is going to be going forward. And the second thing, if in fact you don't, we have this argument a lot on the show, Brendan and I know he's not here to make the argument again, but if you don't get what you need out of the transfer portal, this is why high school recruiting can't be completely ignored. You still need to have some eggs in those baskets. Can't put them all in the portal basket because sometimes portal's not going to give you everything you need. Mizzou, last few years, Eli Drinkwitz, last few years, portal's gotten him what he needed for the most part. Maybe last year, a quarterback, they didn't get what they needed. But at most of the positions, by and large, the roster has gotten better because of the transfer portal here at Mizzou under Eli Drinkwitz last few years. It's why they've won 29 games in 3 years. but it won't happen every year. Can't build your whole roster through the transfer portal. Do have to make sure that you develop guys, at least a few. Doesn't have to be all your high school guys. It won't be all of your high school guys. We know that to be true, but some of them do have to turn into players for you. So it's about not only filling the holes on your roster, but allowing the room for some of those players in the future that could help you to get that room to grow. We'll see. Again, portal season not over. Mizzou has a chance to catch up. We'll see if they're able to do that. We'll obviously talk more about it throughout the week. Give us your thoughts on it, 573-875-KTGR. Mizzou gymnastics coach Shannon Welker joins us next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good evening, I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Cardinals traded away Nolan Arenado today. He heads to the Arizona Diamondbacks in exchange for right-handed pitching prospect Jack Martinez. Also, as part of the deal, the Cardinals are paying $31 million of Arenado's $42 million remaining on his 2-year contract. Arenado spent 5 seasons in St. Louis. During that time, was a 3-time All-Star, finished 3rd in MVP voting 1 year, and was a 2-time Gold Glove winner. Offensive numbers for Arenado were not up to snuff last season, though. .237 batting average, 12 home runs, 52 runs batted in. Royals announced today that their outfield fences are moving in left and right field. Dimensions going to be shortened about 9 to 10 feet in those areas, while center field stays the same. Royals also adding some seating behind those closer in fences. Move was made, they say, in an effort to make Kauffman Stadium more home run neutral compared to the rest of Major League Baseball stadiums. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Advanced Tree Solutions. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking light showers moving through mid-Missouri through about midnight, leaving us with gusty winds and colder temperatures for tomorrow, staying in the 30s throughout the day with wind chills in the 20s. By tomorrow night, temperatures fall into the teens with wind chills between 7 and 10 degrees by Thursday morning. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the #1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the plus, Missouri by 20.
And the gates
the habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes the 3. Bang, he splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin & Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin & Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin & Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin & Sticklin, it's a home run.
This is Brian Mays with Family Pawn Stores. We've been working with Zimmer Communications for decades. Since we started our branding campaign, we've seen our business grow by leaps and bounds. I signed on for radio and ended up with website service, digital advertising, plus all the production. Having a partner like Zimmer Communications has been paramount in building our business. I can rely on their staff for every facet of marketing, and that's just been a real relief.
Zimmer Communications. You know business. We grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March of 27 and seen Mark. My best friend came with me. We both went to it, and neither one of us smoked a cigarette in almost 7.5 months. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend and them went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a Mark Patrick seminar, the Stop Smoking, and it worked. A friend of mine also went, and he still no longer smokes, and it was just amazing.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed, only $59.99 or your money back. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Stop Smoking Hypnosis, 8 p.m. on Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. or 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Guys like me that are born and raised in this area and are running a company here, we want to do things for the customers the right way.
Barry Rowe of True Sun Exteriors knows it's important to stay local.
Storm chasers that come into town or fly-by-night companies, they'll do things for less money than we will, but that's because they don't intend to do it correctly, and they certainly don't intend to fix it because they're going to be gone or out of business. They'll come into town and get a local phone number and a local PO address so they can say that they're local. Well, they're not local. It's extremely important, especially with roofs and windows and big projects, that you choose someone who cares about what's going on. You may pay a few $100s more for it, but it's better than saving a few $100s and then a year down the road having to redo the whole project again with someone local and just going through the headache of having to do that again and having all the issues.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDesigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here, and what a start to the season for Mizzou Gymnastics this past weekend, winning the quad meet over in Lincoln, Nebraska, the Emeritus Masters Classic. The Tigers posted a team score of 197.275, edging out with Nebraska, Wisconsin lacrosse, and Wisconsin stout in that event. And great to have Shannon Welker, the head coach of Mizzou Gymnastics, with us here on the Big Show to talk about it. And coach, with the scores that you've been putting up early on in the season, with how your group kind of shaped up this year, how did it kind of compare to what you were expecting, and how you're seeing individual gymnasts go out there and put out their first few scores of the year?
Yeah, it's been great. I've been really pleased with a lot of our newcomers and people that have been stepping into some new roles. So yeah, just really excited about the development I've seen from this past summer to this point now, and certainly excited about the upcoming SEC portion of our season.
Yeah, and certainly that's as tough as can be, and we'll get to that pretty soon. But to see Hannah Horton do what she did, winning a couple of individual events, the starts that she has been putting up so far, and obviously a returner for you, and has shown through a couple of seasons now her value. How have you kind of seen her take steps forward now that she's trying to step into the roles that maybe the gymnasts that graduated a year before are leaving? Now she's moving up in that spot.
Well, we certainly had some pretty incredible Tigers that graduated last year, between Amari Celestine and Jocelyn Moore and Helen Hu and Mara. And we were wondering who was going to be able to step into some of those big shoes right there. And Hannah has certainly done that for us. And, she's been really impressive in these first two competitions of the year. And just every year it just gets a little bit better, which is hard to do when you're as good as she is.
For sure. Shannon Welker, head coach of Mizzou Gymnastics, with us here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Addison Lawrence also with a great performance on balance beam. Just how have you seen her also kind of step up early on and put together a couple of really nice scores through her first two competitions?
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff. I mean, she's gone 995 2 weekends in a row on that event, and has added in a little bit on uneven bars as well. But, she's a returning All-American on balance beam. So not surprised she's doing what she's doing, and just excited that she's gotten off to the start that she has this year.
And so with players like that, and you mentioned some of the newcomers that are really making an impact. I know you did some good work in the transfer portal to make that happen, but also some very intriguing freshmen. Just how have you seen that element of your program with some of the first year gymnasts coming into your group make the impact early on so far?
Well, recruiting for us and development it's kind of 3-part, right? Obviously, we got to do a great job with our current team and really continue to develop them and obviously retain them on that end, And then the next part is we got to do a great job with those young ladies coming out of high school, coming in as freshmen right there on that end. And then obviously the third piece there is that, the transfer part right there and getting some young ladies coming from some different universities there. Kamara Eccles is a freshman for us. She's been doing a great job. I mean, that's one to watch. She is going to be an impressive University of Missouri Tiger for not only this year, but years to come. And we've had some people chipping in from that transfer end as well. Michaela Green's been really solid for us over on bars. And, great to see Lauren McPherson, although this is her second year with us. This is her first year of competition. But I think those two in particular have been doing a really nice job this year in the first 2 weekends.
Shannon Welker, Mizzou gymnastics head coach, with us here on the Big Show KTGR. And so with the SEC schedule starting this weekend, I mean, it's a monster, as we all know, but just this year it seems to be already shaping up to be a bunch of different teams that are dominating in each and every apparatus. And there are 8 teams in the SEC that, including yours, that are all ranked in the top 10 of the rankings so far. And Oklahoma this weekend, who started out as the preseason number 1, I guess this week they maybe dropped down to a tie for second, but just to have this now starting out, what's now the focus for your group as you have a bunch of other gymnasts that you're going to be competing with that are at the top of their game too?
Yeah, certainly the competition stiffens here as we kind of move forward into these, I would say, especially these next 4 weeks, right? In the next 4 weeks, if we look at the current rankings, we're going to see the top 1 through 4 teams in the country, whether that's at home or on the road. And, and 3 of them are at home. So that's awesome for our fan base right there. Again, listen, we continue to just stay process focused and developing and making sure that we are continuing to get a little bit better each weekend, regardless of the win or loss. Obviously, we think we're good enough if we do our job to go out there and get the W, but it's also important that we continue to score higher and higher as we kind of move through the season right here. So we're going to continue to keep things focused on what we can control. And I think if we do that, we'll have a great shot at walking away with that, with the win as well. And I think that'd be exciting, especially with the upcoming strength of schedule.
Yeah, certainly so. And again, it's all about essentially building up the best score as possible, maybe more so than just what your opponent might be doing. But when you get to these types of periods, when you're facing off against the best of the best in this sport, does it kind of push your group a little bit further to go up as much as possible?
Well, absolutely it does. I think they're competitive. These young women, look, they want to win. They put in a lot of work, and not only do they want to walk away with a great score, but listen, they're competitive. They want to beat that person on the other side of the arena right there as well. And but again, keeping it process focused so they can come out and put out their best performance right there. And so, I think they get excited for SEC competition, and obviously we as a coaching staff do as well.
And so Oklahoma will be coming to town for that meet coming up on Friday night, and it'll be happening at Mizzou Arena, which has officially opened earlier in the month or last month as your official home. Now, you will have one more meet at the Hearn Center coming up later in the year, but the majority of your home competitions will be at Mizzou Arena. How has that change been for your group to be able to play in that venue with a little bit more capacity?
So it's been so nice. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, 5 of 6 of our home competitions will be at Mizzou Arena. And so we are really excited about that. I mean, it's just a great fan experience. You know, the audio visual is top notch. The infrastructure there is great. You know, the seating's comfortable, you know, so that's awesome. And it also sends the right message to our young ladies that are competing at such a high level. You know, we're sitting at number 7 in the country this week. You know, that is a premier group right there. And I think you got to put them in a premier facility so they can, you know, they can be the best of the best and be one of the top teams in the SEC.
So it's a great chance to go and check out what Mizzou Gymnastics will have against number 2 Oklahoma at Mizzou Arena this Friday. It's 7:45 when it starts out, and great deals that you can go find for tickets right now to see Mizzou Gymnastics as they take on the best of the best in this sport. Great to have Shannon Welker here on the Big Show KTGR to talk about it. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time. Congrats on the early success so far this year, and good luck this weekend as the Sooners come to town.
All right. Thanks so much, Andy, and looking forward to seeing all our fans pack that place on Friday night. Appreciate you guys. MIZ.
ZOU, it's the Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app. And yeah, Shannon Welker, he was laying it out a little bit earlier there, just how tough the SEC is in gymnastics. There are only 10 programs in the SEC that have gymnastics, but 8 of them are in the top 10 nationally right now, including Mizzou. And all of those other teams that are in the top 10 are on Mizzou's schedule this year. So you'll get a chance to see several of those teams and see if Mizzou can topple them all season long at Mizzou Arena. For most of the matchups, there will be one at the Hearn Center as Arkansas comes to town later next month. But most of where you can see Mizzou Gymnastics at home will be at Mizzou Arena, and that includes this Friday night at 7:45 when they take on Oklahoma. So go and check that out and go see really what is the top program right now in Mizzou athletics. Gymnastics ranked number 7 in the nation. That does it for us here on The Big Show. Thanks to Shannon Welker for joining us. Also to Will Carroll, the injury expert, for coming on earlier. We've got Tiger Talk coming up next. You'll hear from Mizzou women's basketball coach Kelly Harper coming up at the top of the hour, and then men's basketball coach Dennis Gates at 7 o'clock, live from Harpo's in downtown Columbia. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I'm Andy. We're done for now.